Big, outspoken personalities tend to attract controversy, as the people on this list can attest.
I feel like in some ways like I'm a soldier of culture.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most controversial Americans abroad. For this list, we're looking at Americans who, however they may be perceived at home, tend to generate controversy among people from other countries. Number 10. Sarah Palin, politician.
What newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them.
One of the leading lights of the Tea Party movement, Palin's expertise is not really evident to many overseas. After all, she has confused North Korea with South Korea, indicated that merely living in Alaska is enough to make her knowledgeable about neighboring Russia.
Because they are right there. They are right next to our state.
And does not believe global warming is man-made.
Kind of doesn't matter at this point as we debate what caused it.
Her fundamentalist beliefs also polarize those in other countries, much as they do in America.
I would hope at least that those protesters have the courage and the honor of thanking our veterans for giving them the right to protest.
Number 9. Kanye West, musician. Recording superstar Kanye West isn't exactly known for being humble. And that outsized ego costs him fans abroad as well as at home. From interrupting Taylor Swift in the middle of an acceptance speech,
but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time,
to banning critics after his fashion line got bad reviews, West strikes some as insufferable, if undeniably talented.
they want to marginalize me until I'm no longer relevant.
But talent only goes so far, and when West played a private gig for a relative of Kazakhstan's notoriously dictatorial president, many felt he crossed an important line.
Kanye West has got a big mouth. He's always spouting off about this. And you know, Kanye, I think Assad might have a gig for you. You should go over there and sing a little rap song.
Number 8. Michael Moore, filmmaker. Documentary filmmaker Michael Moore likes nothing more than to be a gadfly, a pose which has earned him both accolades and condemnation.
If I was to try and stab you through this, right here, you're gonna have to be really close. Right. And here's the bottom line on this. What if I had a spear?
Many in the international community find him arrogant, dispensing advice about ousting English and Italian leaders, and getting his facts wrong about South Korean citizens' actions concerning the Iraq War. Some accuse him of intellectual dishonesty and emotional manipulation. The same kind of criticism many U.S. critics have leveled against him.
You don't have any opinion, though, as to why that is, that we are the unique country, the only country that does this, that kills each other on this level with guns.
Well, we have probably a more mixed ethnicity than other countries, some other countries.
Number 7. Bernard Madoff, businessman. Bernie Madoff's massive Ponzi scheme robbed investors of billions of dollars and ruined lives. Among those most deeply affected were Spain's Banco Santander, Austria's Bank Medici, and France's Natixis. And one source estimates that half of the amount lost by investors came from non-US sources. With that kind of crushing effect on the international scene, is it any wonder Madoff's name draws curses in many different languages?
I know I will die in prison, but I lived the last 20 years of my life in fear. Now I have no fear, because I'm no longer in control of my own life.
Number 6. Donald Trump. You don't get to be a billionaire businessman by being shy and retiring.
That guy is a loser.
So it's no surprise that Donald Trump's vocal outbursts offend many. His perceived egotism also doesn't always play well abroad. In fact, a whole film, You've Been Trumped, was even made about Trump's insistence on creating a $150 million golf course in Scotland despite massive opposition from local residents, politicians, and environmentalists. Some could say that's par for the course when dealing with the Donald.
If the country's going bad and you're doing well, you're not going to do well long because you can't really counteract all that negativity.
Number 5. Edward Snowden, whistleblower.
Over time, that awareness of wrongdoing sort of builds up, and you feel compelled to talk about it.
Edward Snowden's leaking of thousands of classified documents makes him a hero to some in the U.S. and a traitor to others.
The NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default.
Abroad, the view of him is largely much more favorable than it is in America. But since his actions revealed complicity in invasive surveillance programs by many European governments, he's not always a popular figure, especially with international intelligence communities.
If we want to be able to enjoy an empowered government, a strong government, that can only happen if it's a trusted government. We have to believe in these people, and they have to win the public's trust.
Number 4, Lance Armstrong, athlete.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Cyclist Lance Armstrong's reputation took a severe trashing when it was revealed that he had used performance-enhancing drugs. He ended up being stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles and was placed under a lifetime ban from competitive cycling. Armstrong's vilification of his critics didn't earn him any fans, and his half-hearted and belated admission that he did use drugs did little to mollify opponents either.
In your opinion, was it humanly possible to win the Tour de France without doping 7 times in a row?
Not in my opinion.
Number 3, Harry S. Truman, the 33rd President of the United States.
The Japanese began the war from the air at Pearl Harbor. They have been repaid many-fold, and the end is not yet.
President Richard Nixon was removed from office for the Watergate scandal.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
But he brokered many foreign affairs successes, including opening up relations with China. And to many in other countries, President Harry S. Truman would have been a more likely candidate for impeachment.
It is an atomic bomb. It is a harnessing of the basic power of the universe.
As the only national leader to have allowed the use of atomic weapons, which caused massive death and destruction, he is viewed by many in the global community as something approaching a war criminal.
It must be clear to everyone that the United States cannot and will not sit idly by and await foreign conquest. The only question is, when is the best time to meet the threat, and how is the best time to meet it?
Number 2, George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States.
We come to Iraq with respect for its citizens, for their great civilization, and for the religious faiths they practice.
While President Barack Obama certainly has many detractors and very vocal critics abroad, his predecessor, George W. Bush, is generally held in lower regard.
It's hard for me to explain why that was the case. Just take my word for it.
Bush's good old boy persona, which resonated deeply with many Americans, made him come across as ignorant and naive to many in other countries. His decision to invade Iraq and incorrect information concerning weapons of mass destruction was viewed as a disastrous act of imperialism by many and cost him serious political capital in the foreign market.
We will defend our freedom. We will bring freedom to others, and we will prevail.
Before we reveal our top pick, here are a few honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions.
You got 10 guys here. 10 guys here that have left their families, left their damn families to help this country as a sports venture. Got 10 guys, all these guys here. Do anyone understand that?
We do.
What would you have us do with all the gays and
Drive them, my dear, back into the closet where they belong. Those people don't want the right to fornicate anally privately. They want to do it out on Main Street and command all the rest of us to stand up and applaud. That's what I'm preaching against.
Number 1, Dick Cheney, politician. George W. Bush's Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, and Deputy Secretary of Defense, Paul Wolfowitz, were among the architects of America's controversial invasion of Iraq. But Vice President Dick Cheney is generally considered the real force behind the plan.
I think our friends no longer count on us, no longer trust us, and our adversaries don't fear us.
Cheney's war hawk attitude and perceived willingness to disregard human life in pursuit of political and nationalistic goals make him a lightning rod for criticism and controversy.
This is not a new concept. We've done it all over the world. We still have forces in Korea today, and Germany and Japan, for good and sufficient reason, because it's in our interest to be there, because we can help stabilize the area.
Do you agree with our choices? What other outstanding controversial Americans should we have put on this list? For more enthralling top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
I'd like to stay here all day, but I gotta go to Vegas.